Hello everyone, I'm Justin, and this is a full recap of Moana, released in 2016. If you end up enjoying this video and want to see more from us, then make sure to click that subscribe button and click the bell to know anytime we upload a new video. After a mostly disappointing run, both critically and financially, over the course of the 2000s, Walt Disney Animation Studios turned out a nearly perfect 2010s, with each of their 7 highest-grossing movies of all time releasing in the decade, including the likes of Moana, which currently sits as the studio's 4th highest-grossing movie ever at the worldwide box office, while also ranking as the 29th highest-grossing animated movie overall of all time, and earning the 11th most at the worldwide box office in the year of its release, bringing in $688 million on a budget of $150 million. And now, 8 years later, the studio's hoping to pull off another successful sequel to join the likes of Frozen 2 and Ralph Breaks the Internet with Moana 2, releasing November 27th. So, ahead of the new movie, we've decided to take a look back at the original Moana film and run down everything that took place. The movie opens with a narration taking us all the way back to the emergence of the mother island, Te Fiti, whose heart held the power to create life itself, and Te Fiti chose to share this power with the rest of the world, creating several islands inhabited by humans. However, some of these humans believe that if they could gain possession of Te Fiti's heart, they could then hold this power for themselves, leading one day to the most daring of them all, Maui, demigod of the wind and sea, and a shapeshifter who could change form with the power of his magical hook, voyaging across the ocean to collect it. But upon removing her heart, Te Fiti began to crumble, giving birth to a terrible darkness, which Maui attempted to escape, but was instead met by another who sought the heart, a demon of earth and fire named Taka, which struck him out of the sky, never to be seen again. Now, 1,000 years later, Maui is still yet to be found, while the terrible darkness has continued to spread, and begun draining life from island after island. But the woman retelling this tale, Tala, believes that the heart and Maui will be found one day, and whoever finds them will then deliver them across the great ocean to restore the heart of Te Fiti and save them all. Among the children Tala had been telling the story to is her granddaughter, Moana, who seems to be the only child not frightened by the tale, and actually seems rather intrigued. However, her father, Chief Tui of Motunui, says that there's nothing for the kids to worry about, nor should anyone ever leave the island since they already have all they need. This decision may not be up to Moana's father though, as shortly thereafter, after Moana kindly helps a baby sea turtle avoid a few crows and guides it into the ocean shockingly responds by opening a path of seashells for the young girl that leads her to the aforementioned Heart of Te Fiti. Although Tui soon arrives as well, causing Moana to inadvertently drop the heart back into the ocean before being taken back home. We then move ahead several years and watch as Moana grows into a young woman, all the while being prepared to follow in her father's footsteps one day and become the island's next chief, a position she doesn't seem quite as passionate about taking on as you'd expect, due to her still being drawn to the sea, which, unlike everyone else, Moana's grandma Tala continues to encourage over the years. Ultimately though, Moana happily accepts the path her family set her on, and her father soon gains enough faith in her to let her make some decisions for their community on her own. But soon, things take a sudden turn for the worse when, one day, they notice that the island's natural food supply has begun to die out, while the fish also strangely appear to have vanished, with them nowhere to be found in the sea, prompting Moana to suggest they attempt to fish beyond the reef. But her father adamantly refuses to sign off on the idea, emphasizing that no one goes beyond the reef. Through Moana's mother, Sina, we learn why her father is so against her proposal. She explains that, when he was around Moana's age, he had also been drawn to the sea, leading to him one day hopping in a canoe with his best friend to cross the reef, and unfortunately being quickly met by an unforgiving sea that ultimately took his best friend's life. While she understands her father's fear of potentially losing someone he cares about to the sea once again, Moana still can't fight the urge to see what's beyond the reef. So she hops in a canoe of her own, but just like her father years ago, she's also taken back by the unforgiving waves, and even nearly drowns before fortunately making it back to shore. There, she's met by her grandmother dancing with several manta rays, a creature that Tala actually has a tattoo of on her back, and which she also believes she'll come back as after she dies. These manta rays aren't the only reason she's come out to the shore, however, as she reveals she has something to show Moana, with that something being a hidden cave filled with boats formerly used by her ancestors. As it turns out, her people used to be voyagers. This leaves Moana questioning why they ever stopped, and Tala reveals that, after Maui awoke Taka, monsters began to lurk and boats stopped returning home. So, to protect their people, the ancient chiefs forbid voyaging. But Tala claims that abandoning their roots is what's allowed the darkness to continue to spread, and to now begin draining the life from their island. Although she does still believe that someone will successfully journey beyond the reef, find Maui, and deliver him across the Great Ocean to restore the heart of Te Fiti and save them all, with that someone being Moana, who she then hands the heart of Te Fiti, as well as reveals that she had witnessed the ocean choose Moana when she was a young girl, before the ocean then also makes its presence known by communicating with her for the first time since. Unaware of how to make it past the reef herself, Moana rushes to receive help from her father. However, he instead attempts to prevent her planned voyage by burning the boats to the ground. But this is interrupted when the two are informed that Tala has fallen sick. Despite her approaching the end of her life, Tala still encourages Moana to leave her side and find Maui, and so she does, rushing to the hidden cave and hopping on one of her ancestors' boats to begin her journey beyond the reef, for which she's also unknowingly brought along the village idiot, a rooster named Heihei. Moana soon once again faces some brutal waves, but luckily she's able to make it through this time and eventually arrive on an island, on which she soon encounters Maui, who she attempts to force onto her boat so he can restore the heart of Te Fiti. But this just frustrates him, since, as he claims, he's only been stuck here for 1,000 years because he tried to retrieve the heart as a gift for the mortals, and so he believes she should be thanking him. Maui then uses a musical distraction to trap her in a cave and steal her boat. However, Moana quickly breaks free and is helped to get back on the boat by the ocean, which also prevents Maui's attempt to exit. Maui no longer wants anything to do with the heart though, believing it to be a curse, since the second he took it, he was blasted out of the sky and lost his magical hook. But Moana's ultimately able to convince him that, if he restores the heart of Te Fiti, he could once again be viewed as a hero by the mortals, rather than just the guy who stole it. And so he agrees to help, after they first find his hook, which he believes could only be located in the lair of Tamatoa, a scavenger who collects stuff because he thinks it makes him look cool, and whose lair is located within Lalotai, the realm of monsters. After making it past some frightening creatures, the two manage to find Maui's hook, which Maui attempts to retrieve by using Moana as bait to distract Tamatoa. But this ultimately fails, as he ends up being caught the moment he grabs it and attacked. Strangely, Maui's unable to control his hook's shape-shifting abilities as he once could, so in order for them to escape, Moana has to create a distraction using what Tamatoa thinks is the heart of Te Fiti, but is actually just a barnacle covered in bioluminescent algae. And this fortunately works and allows them to make it back to their boat. Maui's pretty frustrated by his underwhelming performance against Tamatoa, and while he still continues on the journey to Te Fiti with Moana, he's clearly lost any faith in them being able to defeat Te Ka. So Moana tries to help him figure out whatever's causing these issues with his abilities, and takes an interest in the origin of his tattoos, which he reveals just show up when he's earned them, but he tries not to speak on them any further. Although Moana does eventually get him to open up, and he reveals that, before he was a demigod, his parents, who were humans, had decided they didn't want him when he was just a baby, and so threw him into the sea, leading to him being found by the gods, who gave him his hook and made him Maui. After some time, and with his newfound power, Maui then decided to go back to the humans, and used his abilities to give them many gifts, like fire, coconuts, and even entire islands, before attempting to retrieve the heart of Te Fiti for them in hopes he'd gain their love and admiration. But he claims it was never enough. Moana believes, though, that he was chosen by the gods for a reason, and despite everything they had given him, he's the one who makes him Maui. And her words give him the motivation he needed to begin training to control his shape-shifting powers once again, which, over the course of their journey, he eventually figures out, while also deciding to take Moana under his wing and teach her how to sail. Soon enough, the two finally make it to Te Fiti, where Maui, with his powers restored, immediately enters a battle against Te Ka, and the creature quickly proves itself to be overwhelmingly powerful, sending him flying straight back into Moana's boat. So Moana attempts to sail around the monster, despite Maui's warning not to, but the creature ultimately intercepts them, bringing down a huge strike that Maui's able to absorb with his hook, although the force of which sends them way back out into the ocean. Unfortunately, Maui's hook is revealed to have been greatly damaged by the strike, adding to his frustration. And so, since one more strike would completely destroy it, Maui refuses to give it another attempt, claiming that without his hook, he is nothing. So he says goodbye to Moana and flies off. Now convinced she was the wrong choice, Moana begs the ocean to take the heart back and to choose someone else. But instead, she's met by the spirit of her grandmother, who helps Moana regain her confidence and reminds her of who she is. And so, Moana heads off to Te Fiti to restore the heart herself. To make it past Te Ka, Moana, having noticed earlier that the creature is harmed when it touches water, uses the surrounding ocean to her advantage to sail around the beast. But just as she's about to make it to Te Fiti, she's suddenly sent flying off her boat by a blast from Te Ka, nearly allowing them to grab hold of her. But she's instead saved just in time by Maui's return, who continues battling the creature to keep it distracted and allow Moana to restore the heart. In order for Moana to make it to Te Fiti though, Maui's forced to use his hook as a weapon once again, which results in it being destroyed, while Moana, upon making it to Te Fiti's believed location, finds she's no longer there. As it turns out, Te Ka is actually Te Fiti. So she draws her attention with the heart, stopping her rampage, and parts the sea to allow Te Fiti to come to her so she can restore it. And once she does, Te Fiti is able to return to her true form. For helping restore her heart, Te Fiti, after Maui apologizes for stealing it in the first place, gifts him a new hook and Moana a new boat, before finally being able to rest once again. While Moana and Maui, although the former proposes that the latter return with her to her island, decide to go their separate ways for now. But their paths do soon cross again later, after Moana reunites and celebrates her restored island with her people and her family, who also decide to become voyagers once again. And the movie ends with Maui flying past as Moana leads her people on a journey beyond the reef. And that was our recap of Moana. If you enjoyed the video or found it helpful in any way, then be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And also, let us know in the comments below where Moana ranks for you amongst Walt Disney Animation's other films. But once again, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll talk to you again soon.